What is Spider-Man's top web-swinging speed in Spider-Man for the PlayStation 4? What am I going to do about you guys? I need you to see, but if I put you on, it's going to look weird. I'll figure something out. Welcome to the Chamber of the Wraith. My name is Brian, and today I've decided I wanted to do a little bit of something a little bit different and interesting and more talky and stuff. I already did a sort of thing like this for E3, so you already know what it's going to be. I'm covering Gamescom this time. Gamescom, if you do not know, is a German-based European games event. So a bunch of game companies go to Germany to show off their games and all of that. It's basically Europe's answer to North America's E3, but it takes place in the second and third week of August. I believe the first day of it is the 20th this year. Yeah. Also, by the way, do you love the fact that my mirror has my monitor has a shadow clone on the Dragon Tank? That's gonna make things a little weird. Anyway, so I decided, because I found a really good article by Gfinity talking about the things that are going to be there and all the companies that are there, I decided to make a list of not necessarily top. It's going to be like, if it's going to be ranked, it's going to be loose. Things are going to be super fluid and all of that. But we're going to be talking about 10 games or announcements that I'm personally super excited for so far as Gamescom is concerned, because this is promising to be a pretty big one. Because, get this is going to be the first time all year that Sony has had a proper press conference. They weren't at E3, and remember, Gamescom is in August, so I'm going to put maybe a little more love in Sony's court, because where were you guys? But without further ado, let's just jump right in. So the very first thing I really want to get out of the way, we got to get it out right now. It's my least interested thing in right now, but I know this fan base is dying for more. It's confirmed that Atlas is going to be at Gamescom. I almost said E3. I meant Gamescom. Anyway, so they're going to be at Gamescom, and we know that Atlas has at least one major release in 2020. They're going to be... Hey, can you focus, please? Thank you. Gamescom is going to... Atlas is going to have one major release here in the West in 2020. It's already out in Japan, as far as I know. But Persona 5 Royal, or P5R for short, is going to be coming to the West sometime in 2020. We got the announcement at E3, but we didn't see too much. Now, because it's going to be at Gamescom, I personally would expect and am intrigued by what Persona 5R is going to be. I have zero clue about anything about the Persona franchise. Like, I do have Persona 5, but it's one of those games I've yet to play. And I've never played a Persona game in my life. So I would be interested to know what is going to be different. And if any of you guys are big fans of Persona, please comment and let me know what is known so far. Like, what do you think is going to be different with Persona 5 to Persona 5R? If there have been re-releases like this in the past, I need to know, because looking at this trailer and seeing Joker in Smash, and I still don't have a Switch, but I have played it, Smash, and I have seen Joker gameplay. Man, Persona looks very interesting, and I would like a little more information about that. So if you Persona heads are as excited, or at least as intrigued about about Persona 5R as I am, please let me know and talk more about it. But for now, we got to move on to another announcement, and this one I'm actually personally very excited for, because I actually know this franchise. Let's get to it. Next up, we have a Furonic game that I personally think we're going to be seeing more of. We know that THQ Nordic is going to be there. Again, sources, actually the Gfinity article that I will link in the description down below. And THQ Nordic is doing a lot of games. but the one game that has me the most interested out of all of them is the Destroy All Humans remake. We've seen about 15 minutes of gameplay of it in the pre-alpha stage at E3, and maybe we might see a little bit more, or even just a revamped version, something that's a little cleaner, or talking more about what the process was, maybe revealing, I don't know, a new weapon or a new map or something, if they decide to remake it and make Destroy All Humans on the Destroy All Humans remake bigger, which I suspect they will, because we've already seen some gameplay quality of life changes. This is the first game, but they've taken some elements from the second game, and I'm pretty sure they took some elements from the third game that but I've not played Path of the Furon. But we know that dashing is going to be a thing, which it is not in Destroy All Humans 1 and 2, and controlling your salsa, woo! That was not salsa at all. Controlling your saucer's altitude as you're flying around, that's not in Destroy All Humans 1, but it is in 2. So that's going to be a thing. So I wonder if they're also going to be taking more things like maybe the disc locator from Destroy All Humans 2, or more advanced psychokinetic abilities as well from Path of the Furon. But I would be intrigued just to learn a little more about the Destroy All Humans remake. Again, it's coming out in 2020, and I'm super, duper, mega, ultra excited for it. But now we're going to move on to an announcement that is not going to be at Gamescom, so far as I know. But it's releasing at around the same time as Gamescom. What am I talking about? I'll let you know. This announcement I'm talking about is actually for a game that's already been released, but, you know, since the game's out and this is part of one of my favorite franchises of all time, I can't help but talk about it. Also, can my hair just stay somewhere consistent, please? Fantastic. Yeah. Nah. Close enough. We're going to be talking about Mortal Kombat 11! Yay! Everybody's favorite Mortal Kombat game. I've had some very up and down mixed opinions about Mortal Kombat 11 these days. But maybe I'll make a video about that separate to talk about it, because I still like this game, but oh, there's some gripes, and it's probably because it's, as far as I'm concerned, an unfinished game. But moving on. One thing that I do want to bring up is that we are finally going to be getting a Combat Pack 1 trailer, a proper one this time. Now, as far as we know, according to Ed Boon, you've probably seen it around, according to Ed Boon, the DLC schedule got fucked with by Warner Brothers, which is why it took almost 2 months for Nightwolf to come out. He's coming out tomorrow, by the way, so excited. But the thing is that, I'm going to have to shut that up, because if it is what oh. No, we're good. But the thing is, we only really know about 4 of the 6, and we know there's supposed to be 6 characters. And we've only ever gotten 2 of them so far. By now, we would have had a 3rd and be knocking on a 4th in previous Mortal Kombat and Injustice schedulings. Whatever the reason for the schedule changes is, I'm glad that they're taking more time to work on stuff. You know, no crunch is fine by me. It's just, it would have been... Okay, yeah, I'm going to have to shut up my phone in a minute here. There we go. But the problem, but it would have been nice to know this in advance, is what I'm trying to say. And I'm trying not to rant about Mortal Kombat 11's release schedule here, but, you know, 'tis what it is. Now, as I was saying, we're finally going to get a proper Combat Pack release trailer. Hey, buddy, you want to... No? You're just going to interrupt the footage? Okay, then. We know for sure of 4 of the 6 characters, as I mentioned. Shang Tsung, he's out. Nightwolf, he's out tomorrow. Sindel is probably next. Because it looks like they're releasing it in trailer order. So we had Shang Tsung, then Nightwolf, and Sindel. So that means Spawn is probably going to be next. And if they are going to stick to the 2-month scheduling, that means that we're going to be seeing Sindel sometime in October and Spawn sometime in December. They could release Spawn in October because, you know, Halloween stuff, but that's just how it would appear to be. But now, we're going to have finally we're getting to this, the Combat Pack 1 full trailer that has been teased at us before. We're going to be getting that release, that trailer, on August 21st, which is smack dab in the middle. Or is it in the middle, or is it at the end of? I'm just going to quickly double check something. Gamescom dates. Because I completely forgot. Yeah, it's right in the middle of Gamescom. It'll be on Wednesday, August 21st, if everything goes according to plan, which it probably will be. and it'll be right in like day 2 of Gamescom or day 1 or whatever numerical system they've decided to use, which means for me that that's going to be super exciting because I'll finally be able to talk about some of that stuff and talk about Combat Pack. Finally see the last 2 guest characters that we totally don't know who they are, right, NetherRealm? All right. So that's enough about that, and I don't know why I spent almost 4 minutes talking about a game that already came out when this is supposed to be for upcoming stuff. But maybe I just need to get some thoughts out on Mortal Kombat 11. Let me know if you guys want that sort of video. We also know that Bethesda is going to be at Gamescom, and now Bethesda has had a bit of a rocky reputation as of late because of Fallout 76 and all of the crazy nonsense that happened with that game and how bad it is. Excuse me. But as a publisher, not necessarily as a developer these days, but as a publisher, these guys have some excellent properties. The fantastic Doom game, Dishonored are great examples of games owned and published by Bethesda, but not necessarily developed by them, developed by other studios like Arcane Lion, I should say, and id Software. I almost forgot the name for the Doom dev for a second. But while we may probably get more footage of Doom from Bethesda because they're going to be there, what I actually want to see, because Doom's going to be out in just a couple of months' time, in three and a half months' time. So we'll know what it's going to be like with Doom, and we already had QuakeCon for Doom. So what I would like to see is I would actually like to see a little more of a game that got revealed by Arcane Lion under Bethesda's banner in Deathloop. This game we have not seen gameplay for yet. We only have the cinematic trailer and the premise that both of the characters in the game are unkillable. They Groundhog Day themselves on this island, and the guy wants to break the cycle, and the girl wants to continue the cycle because it's fun to kill shit apparently, and it's just 2 different ideologies. I want to see how this game plays, what it is. We only know from the trailer of like the tiniest tasting of what the story is going to be. And maybe a hint of gameplay because we know it's going to be guns and we know that there's at least some level of superpower involved. That's about it. And I would be keen to learn more about mainly what it is. Is it just going to be a campaign? Is there going to be a 1v1 online match thing? What are we going to be expecting out of this? Personally, what I would expect out of Deathloop, and what I would like to see, I would like to see a 5-minute teaser, 5-minute showing, I should say, because 5 minutes is too long for a teaser. I don't care what you are, of gameplay, and it's just going to be, or even just a 2-minute gameplay trailer, just to show what the gameplay is going to be like, and maybe show a teasing of the online, if there is online. I'm assuming there isn't, but in case there is, of whatever online mode there could be. And I think for a game like this, one online mode that I think could do really well would be a 1v1, an almost fighting game matchup of sorts, where it would be you and the one player, and you have to go at it for, say, best 3 out of 5 or 2 out of 3 or whatever. And I don't know why I've got online on the brain a lot lately. Maybe it's because of Wraith Online that I just debuted not too long ago, but hey ho, it is what it is. I want to see more Deathloop. Come on, Bethesda. Don't fuck this up. Please. Look it over here. Now, one game I am actually kind of excited for. I'm cautiously excited, I want to say, because they're leaning into the games as service model type approach for this one. And while that's okay, and Square Enix is developing this thing, it did not get the best foot forward. And we are definitely going to see more of this game, so it has a second chance to really impress. One can hope. And that is actually the Marvel's Avengers game that is coming out. The Avengers game being made by Square Enix years ago, and we're finally seeing gameplay for. Square Enix does have fairly slow development cycles, which is fine. I mean, we knew about the Final Fantasy VII remake back in 2015, and it's getting released March next year. So, tis what it is. But this Avengers game thing, I'm super intrigued in for a couple of reasons. One, it's an Avengers game, so as far as I can tell, the Avengers never had a game with each other together outside of like Ultimate Alliance in a really long time. And they never really had their own game. Like Iron Man has had his own game, and Spider-Man obviously had his own game, but Hulk hasn't had his own game since the movie tie-in 2008. And before that, it was 2005's Hulk Ultimate Destruction that everybody remembers. Black Widow's never had a game. Thor, as far as I know, never had a game. The point is that, and as far as I know, Cap's never had a game. The movie tie-in things, they don't happen. And I'm not counting mobile things like Contest of Champions or Strike Force. I'm just talking about console stuff, which, hey, Marvel's coming to the console games. Welcome. Welcome back. And having a look at this game's full reveal presentation, I do have an interest in it, but I want to see more and maybe something to really hook me. And I think what would hook me and a lot of other people would be if our suspicions are confirmed that this game takes place on Earth 1048. Now, if you don't know what Earth 1048 is, it's the Earth that Spider-Man PS4 takes on, comes from. The Spider-Man who is web-swinging around, kicking Martin Lee in the face and punching demons in Spider-Man on PS4. That game takes place on Earth 1048. For you Marvel heads, you guys already know this, but for those who don't, Marvel has its own little multiverse, and the mainline Earth is Earth 616, and that's the main Marvel continuity. Earth 1048 is Insomniac Spider-Man. And we have heard before that this is supposed to be connected to a wider Marvel universe, and there's Easter eggs everywhere. Like, you could take a picture of the Wakandan embassy, the Symkarian embassy, where Silver Sable shows up in the story. We also have Avengers Tower in the game. And Spidey even makes this little crack about the Avengers if you take a picture of Avengers Tower. You see what I'm talking about? He makes a reference of it being at the West Coast. And where are the Avengers celebrating Avengers Day when shit hits the fan for those guys? They're in California, which is the West Coast, which means that there's at least the sprinklings there. And if Square Enix is the game to confirm that Avengers and Spider-Man are taking place in the same universe, that just opened up a huge can of worms, because now a true Marvel gaming universe is going to be in play. And Marvel, give them 10 years and Marvel will dominate the gaming sphere, just like they're dominating movies right now. So it's something certainly to keep in mind and watch out for. And I'm really interested in hoping to see Marvel's Avengers. I'm not reading a script, actually. I'm looking over. If you want to see what I got on my second screen, I got, oops, not that. Can I get display 2? Thank you. Yeah, so that's just a quick look at what I'm looking at. I'm just looking at all the footage that I'm going to be using in this video, the B-roll, which you're going to be seeing a lot of. So moving right along, we are going to take a look at a game that's actually coming out in about a month that has really sprung into the public consciousness lately and actually has me really, really hooked just by looking at it. And don't let your greed guide you, or you will fall. That's the only hint you're going to get, because the answer is going to be in about 15 seconds. Sorry, I'm just looking at all of this stuff, realizing, holy crap, this next publisher that we know is actually going to be here is crazy. By the way, this is the publisher who is publishing Greedfall. See, made that 15-second timer that I mentioned. And Greedfall is a game developed by a company called Spiders, who is under the umbrella of Focus Home Interactive, which is out in France. Makes sense that a French company would want to kind of show some of their games in Germany, which it's a European market. As far as I know, both countries are part of the European Union, so hey, next door neighbors, relatively speaking. And I wanted to have a quick look too before I got too far into this, exactly what they did, because Focus Home Interactive is not a company I'm too familiar with. But having looked at some of their releases from just the past 4 years, I'm going to list off all of the games, or I'm going to list some of the most notable games from here that I've at least heard of that have been released since 2015. All right. And this is under different studios. I'll name the studios as well. But these have all been published by Focus Home Interactive. Ready? We got Divinity Original Sin Enhanced Edition, developed by Larian Studios. Farming Simulator 17 by Giant Software. Yes, they're the publishers of Farming Simulator. Those guys are making bank off of that game. The Technomancer by Spiders, which came out in 2016. Styx, Shards of Darkness by Cyanide Studio. The Surge and its sequel by Deck 13 Interactive. Call of Cthulhu, the official video game by Cyanide Studio. Vampire by, how do I say that? By Don't Nod. I'll just call it Don't Nod. Don't Nod Entertainment. I'm really saying that wrong. I do apologize for you guys. Vampire. Again, the aforementioned The Surge 2. And A Plague Tale Innocence. These are the sorts of games that these guys have been releasing. Oh, and let's not forget... no, I'm not missing anything. At least anything of note. Unless, wait, Insurgency Sandstorm. Tactical first-person shooter, blah, 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 blah. Okay, they also did Insurgency Sandstorm as well, but that's by New World Interactive. That is their sort of like major library that has at least caught my attention at least once in the past 4 years by these guys. And now they're coming with this RPG called Greedfall, which is huge, ambitious. There's gameplay about it everywhere. It looks great, and Focus Home Interactive is coming to Gamescom. Now, I'm having a look at what's going on right now in their release schedule. And so far, 2 of the 4 games by Focus Home Interactive, at least 2. I'm going to check and see if the third one is out. Yep, May 14th. So there we go. So the only game that has been worked on, announced, or shown off at all in 2019 that has a 2019 release date, that being their games The Surge 2, World War Z, A Plague Tale Innocence, and Greedfall. The only game that is not out yet and will not be out by the time Gamescom is done and finished is Greedfall, because Greedfall is coming out in September. Early in September, too, like September 10th, I believe. And this is the only game that they have that has not been released yet. So short of an announcement like Farm Simulator 2020, which could very well be a thing. Actually, I'm curious now. When did the last Farming Simulator release? The last one, look here, sold 4 million copies. My fuck. Publishers 2013 to present, taken over from Excalibur. Yeah, I know. But when did Farming Simulator 19 come out? Came out in November. So they could very well announce Farming Simulator 2020 to be coming out sometime at the end of this year. I would not be shocked if they did that, by the way. But outside of announcing Farm Simulator, Greedfall is the one to watch out for, in my opinion. And frankly, it's the one I'm most excited about. Hey, focus over here, please. Thank you. All right, time to finally move on to the next thing. My God, this is going to be a long video. Next on this merry train of announcements, we know for a fact that Capcom is coming. Don't get mad at yourself, buddy. That's just a reflection. What I'm looking at now is I'm just kind of looking at the fact that, well, Capcom's coming. And Capcom coming is a bit of a surprise because Capcom literally just was at EVO announcing and releasing. Let's see, where did you guys go? Capcom, there you are. So here, I'll show you the list of all the devs that are coming from Gfinity. We got 505, Activision, and we're just talking about Capcom right now. Capcom is the biggest surprise for me because Capcom literally just released at EVO and released information for the rest of, I guess we could call it Season 3. I don't know what you would call, I'm not really sure what you would call this sort of half-season thing that they're doing for Street Fighter V right now. But we had Kage, and that was it. And I think, just going to very quickly confirm, Kage release date for Street Fighter V was... Got a new thing. When was that? First Season 4 character. And they only ended up releasing 3 others since then. This is, by the way, this article I'm reading right now is from Polygon, so that you can just have a quick look there that I'm reading that. 4th season, Blood of the Bleed. This article was written December 16th of 2018. Straight up, December last year. And the fact that it's August and they've finally gotten around to releasing the other 3 characters. I guess they wanted to release them as a pack and develop them. But they ran into the problem of leaks because Steam fucked up and released the trailers for E-Honda, Lucia, and Poison. By the way, quick side announcement, because again, what Chamber of the Wraith video these days does not have an announcement. This Saturday, I will be bringing back Shoryuken Saturday, just for a little bit, just so I can do E Honda and Poison and Lucia. I'm just because I want to get everybody. But the main thing that everybody is talking about that I was looking around when I was looking at Capcom and releases is that they were talking about Street Fighter 6. I can see that. That would be probably their big thing that they want to kind of get at, would be a Street Fighter season either this season 4 is done with those 4 characters, which would make sense. It does become a rounded out roster after that. But the problem is, would they really be doing Street Fighter 6 now? Because Street Fighter 5 did not get a huge amount of hype and press, and it was still kind of rough. And their other attempt at a fighting game, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, just got crushed and basically died after the first season of DLC came about, which sucks because there were supposed to be 60 characters in the game. From what I have heard that it was supposed to be 60 characters in the game, and that sucks. That they never got to that point. They just got to half the roster, and most of it was MCU stuff. We didn't get X-Men or anything. I mean, I don't know why I'm talking about Marvel vs. Capcom so much all of a sudden. I'm not a fan. I have a really difficult time getting into Marvel vs. Capcom because tag fighters I just can't handle because it's too much shit to keep in mind. I have enough trouble with 1v1 for God's sakes. Do you think like 2v2 or God forbid 3v3 in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3? That's the reason why I haven't done Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom on the channel, is mostly because it's a tag fighter. I'm like, what am I gonna do? But whatever. Wishes for a Marvel-made single-player or 1v1 fighting game aside, and ranting about Marvel vs. Capcom aside, Capcom being at Gamescom means a couple of things. I'm going to quickly double check. Yes, I'm doing this live. Hold on. Iceborne release date for Monster Hunter World. I want to see when that's coming. September 6th. So that is pretty soon. As you can see there, just popping in. Don't mind my tabs. Just having a quick look and seeing September 6th is going to be when that's coming out. I don't think they're going to be announcing anything for Iceborne, but it is a possibility to keep in mind. And of course, Capcom has a bevy of other friggin' franchises outside of Street Fighter they could be talking about. I mean, just off the top of my head, they could announce Mega Man 12, or they could talk more about any new Resident Evil games that they're talking about, or maybe, just maybe, this is a game that I've always wanted to play but never had the opportunity to. And I think if given the Resident Evil 2 treatment, this game could be awesome, and it's mostly because of my love for dinosaurs. Dino Crisis Remake. Could that actually happen at Capcom? Maybe. The most likely thing, though, is going to be Street Fighter 6. I don't know if they're going to pull the exclusivity crap again, if they're going to make it, if Capcom's going to be a second-party dev thing for PS4 and PC. Only if Street Fighter's just going to be on PS4 and PC. I hope not. I don't want you Xbox guys deprived of Street Fighter. Although if you have a PC, you also have access to Xbox games. That's besides the point. Well, I've spent 5.5 minutes talking about Capcom. Let's move on. All right, ladies and germs. The next game we want to talk about is probably my most anticipated game for 2020 thus far. And it is Cyberpunk 2077. I bet your ass it's going to be there. And as a matter of fact, I believe it's actually confirmed that there's going to be a Cyberpunk showing. Yeah, there is, right here. Right there. I'll just highlight it really quick. So after Gamescom 2019, I guess this is kind of the second one that's happening after Gamescom, the E3 demo that some people got to play and others didn't, the kind of behind closed doors demo for Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be going public. Not at Gamescom, but at the next event for games that's coming up, which is PAX East? Is it PAX East? I'm going to double check. Yeah, actually I have the tweet right here. So it won't be made public until after Gamescom, confirmed. Exactly during PAX West. Sorry, not PAX East, PAX West. So on the East Coast, on the West Coast. I'm getting my directions mixed up. The point is that we know Cyberpunk is not going to be there, but there'll be or will it be a live presentation at PAX West? I'm not 100% sure how that, just due to how that's worded, but we know that CD Projekt is going to be there. And CD Projekt Red for the full name, I guess, did The Witcher and Cyberpunk. And Cyberpunk won't be out till April 16th next year. So I wouldn't be surprised if they had something else to show. if they had maybe extra footage, or if they just decided, here, we'll let you see the demo for the first time being played by one of our representatives here on stage right now. Minus Keanu Reeves. But, I mean, come on. Cyberpunk was the E3 darling at E3. Thanks to Keanu Reeves being beautiful. But that's kind of the main thing that I'm thinking about. CD Projekt is definitely going to be there, probably just for Cyberpunk. This is going to be a huge game. They've talked a lot about it. These huge open-world RPGs like The Witcher, like Cyberpunk, like Greedfall, another great example of a game that's going to be showing up. These take more resources, as far as I know, than just about any other game in the entirety of the game's media, because dialogue trees, thousands of pages long, all of the skills and animations and getting the coding for those to work right, assets, hundreds, thousands strong, worlds wider than some actual real world places. By their square kilometer size. These games are huge, and if they have anything else to show at Gamescom other than Cyberpunk, I will be stunned. Like, I don't know, if they announced The Witcher 4, or even something as simple as, or even just something as simple as just another new property, I would just be shocked and stunned. I'd be like, what? So close to Cyberpunk's release, you're announcing this now? All right, then. So, I believe I only have one more thing I want to talk about. I'm just going to double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I got 2 more things, but I want to do honorable mentions before I get to the last thing. So we'll just talk about one more thing, and then we'll get to some honorable mentions that I just kind of came up with on the fly because, it's going to be, it is what it is. Oh, wait, they're actually not going to be there. Oh, well. By them, I mean Blizzard, but it's going to be. Alrighty, guys. We know that we already have a few details for Sony's next console, currently called the PlayStation 5 because they like to numerically do that, and that's fine. I wouldn't mind if they got a new name, but again, if they just call it the PlayStation 5, the PS5 still rolls off the tongue as well as the PS4 does. But we know that this is that the PS5 is coming at some point. We won't be seeing it, according to this GameSpot article, until at least after April 2020. So April 2020 is kind of the earliest that they're saying, and this is according to this article here that is still more than a year away, says Sony, but that's not the article I want to talk about. That was from April 29th, by the way. I don't want that. So what we're looking at, so through these table of contents, there's a few key things I really want to talk about. First off, release date we already talked about. Hey, thank you. I don't want your opinions. Leave me alone, GameSpot. First off, we want to know price. It's not been stated, so they could talk about this. I'm going to put it on my face for a second just to talk about a few things here or there relating to what the price point is probably going to be. Because I have heard hot rumors that we will still be able to release it at SRP that will be appealing to gamers in light of its advanced features set. That could be interesting, but something interesting I've noticed, and hopefully this is just coincidence and not a pattern, but Sony did great for the PS2, and then they got cocky, and then they released the PS3 for like fucking $600-700. It was incredibly expensive. And because of that, and because of how long it took for the PS3 to kind of climb back and claw back up to success, they lost that console generation to Xbox. And then PS4 shows up, and now it's sold over 100 million units, and is like one of the best places to play. God of War, Spider-Man, The Last of Us 2, which we know is still coming at some point. Final Fantasy 7, I'm not sure if it's a time exclusive or not, but it is coming, and alongside along other exclusives. And maybe not all of them are great, like Street Fighter 5, but they're still exclusive to the console. You could get Street Fighter 5 on PC, but if you're not a PC gamer, like I'm not huge on, you got to get a PS4 for Street Fighter. So, wouldn't expect anything to say anything different. One gets the feeling, literally says right here in the article what I just said, but one gets the feeling the company has learned from the PS3's exorbitant price tag and the subsequent releases and the more reasonable cost. Yeah, I think the PS4 was like $400 on release back in 2013. I don't quite remember, but I'm pretty sure it was cheaper than Xbox, and that was one of the biggest advantages it had at launch. So hopefully they kind of stay in the don't press much higher than $500 price range. But I think they might edge a little closer to the $500 price range because the keen-eyed viewers might have already seen this. There's a Mark Cerny, who's head over at PlayStation, has actually confirmed something that is amazing to me and amazing to most of us. He's confirmed that the PS5 will be backwards compatible, at least as far as the PS4. Mwah! Yes! All right. Backwards compatibility has been a bit of an issue, and this article actually cites similar internal architecture. So the architecture of the PS1, PS2, and even the PS1 and the PS2 could be kind of emulated and made in such a way that it could work. I'm not a tech geek, but we know that the PS2 is backwards compatible to the PS1, so the architecture there must have been at least similar enough in some way. Going up to the PS3, because the PS3 has a Blu-ray / HD DVD reader, but I think it was mostly Blu-ray. No, it was Blu-ray, and Xbox 360 had the HD DVD thing. And it had a cell processor, a new sort of processing system, and a new architecture that prevented it from being backwards compatible, at least at first, or at least later on, because I remember the first generation of PS3s, coincidentally the ones that were susceptible to the yellow light of death, if anybody remembers that one, was actually backwards compatible to PS2 and PS1, but then they removed that feature. I am guessing due to architectural or whatever reasons, they took that backwards compatibility out to try and make it cheaper, and that backfired as well. So the fact that we know, and the PS4's architecture is well up and ahead and so different from the PS3 that it can't be backwards compatible to PS3 natively. That's why PS Now is a thing. And PS2 and PS1, good luck with that. The architecture used to run those games is upwards of 20 years old now. But these are welcome news to the PS4's backwards compatibility, and that's the thing. Being backwards compatible with the PS4 is key. The PS4 has an incredible library of excellent games. It would be a shame if you have to buy a PS5 for, say, God of War 2, Spider-Man 2, or The Last of Us 3, or whatever the hell other Sony exclusives they decide to release. But you also had to maintain and potentially buy a new PS4 if you still wanted to play the likes of God of War and the first Spider-Man game. So that being backwards compatible is huge. And Sony International President Jim Ryan, just open up the article here, told GameSpot sister site CNET, backwards compatibility and cross-gen are important to the PS5 to help players with the seamless translation. The possibility of cross-generational play, which is interesting to say, we will be able to transition that community to next gen, won't be a binary choice. And yet more welcome news will run even faster than you do on your current console because of another thing that I wanted to talk about, which would be in specs. This thing has a solid state drive now, which is a step up from the hard disk drive, from the HDD that they usually use, the hard disk drive, which relies on technology that at its basis, if you really boil it down, the only real difference between a hard disk drive and a record player is what the thing is reading. Sure, there's obviously some technological advancements between the record player and the hard disk drive, but the strategy is still the same. A thing that scans the spinning part of the hard drive to read data, just like how the needle of a record would play the music just by running over the bumps and grooves inside of the ridges of the record. But now what we know is that we know that Sony's been forthright with information about the PS5 specs, which all that means is it's just straightforward, honest. They've been upfront about it, which is huge. So I'm just going to highlight some key things here while we have the article open. I know it's 7 minutes, but this is a big thing. We've got the PS5 will contain an AMD chip that has a CPU based on the 3rd generation Ryzen. Don't know what that means, but it'll have 8 cores. I know that's good. Zen 2 will also support 8K gameplay, which at the point that you have a 4K TV, I think that's almost too much detail. But going 8K seems excessive. Will be dependent on TVs catching up. See, literally right there, they highlight that the TVs have to catch up to this technology. So So these guys are a little bit ahead of the ball, and an 8K TV will be incredibly expensive, just like the plasma TVs way back in the day, and 4K TVs was a couple years ago. Custom version, graphics chip will support. So we got ray tracing confirmed by these guys. It's starting to become popular in movies and video games. Sony says the technique could also improve game audio. Fully support 3D audio, so if you got really good headphones or an excellent sound system, that is going to be great. And here's what I was talking about. The solid-state drive is a huge detail, which means that games will load faster and be able to handle more objects on screen than current hard disk drives. Characters and cameras move much faster, and environments can be loaded much faster. One final detail. This I feel is kind of interesting. So this is kind of interesting and very, very important, at least to me. I know I do digital purchases a lot more these days, but I still, for some games like the Spyro Reignited trilogy and Horizon Zero Dawn being great examples, I still own the discs for them because it's pretty. I like having discs, and I don't mind having those handy just in case my library gets wiped through some horrible event. But we know that, and for those of you who are more staunch about the whole disc thing, we know that the PS5 will not be going Xbox One S all digital, which is their Xbox One S that does not have a disc drive to cut costs and be all digital. If you are all digital, which is fine, but the PS5 will include a hard drive, but we don't know what kind of discs it will support. The article says, and I'll quote, "It's possible that it could handle 4K UHD Blu-rays, which can carry around twice as much data as standard Blu-ray discs." Which more detail means, which more data being held means more games are going to be able to actually stay on the disc, be able to be preserved outside of just having large chunks of the game being digital only, which was one of the big controversies that happened with, speaking of Spyro, the Spyro Reignited trilogy. Technically, the disc only has the first Spyro game and a portion of, but not the full, Spyro 2. The rest of that game and all of Spyro 3 have to be downloaded, which kind of stinks, which kind of sucks. I kind of wish they would have gone with a triple disc system, but I mean, that would make, but I know Activision, they want to cut costs wherever they can and monetize the fuck out of shit. But that appears to be about it so far for the... Holy fuck, I just realized this has been recording for almost 11 minutes. Let's get on to the honorable mentions really quick so that this doesn't drag on for ages and ages and ages, shall we? Now we've come to honorable mentions, and if you just give me just a quick second, I need to refresh. So, we know that obviously it's way more than just Capcom and Focus Home Interactive that are going to be there. I showed you the list. The list goes, it's got to be almost 24 companies that are showing up there. Sony, Square Enix, and other names that I don't recognize like Microids and Daedalic Entertainment. But, by the way, here's the full list just for reference. But I kind of wanted to make 3 key honorable mentions. Bandai Namco Entertainment is one of them. And the reason why I want to talk about that is because Bandai Namco is going to be busy as fuck this year. Their fighting game the fighting game division that is responsible for the Tekken project and the Soul project, which Soul Calibur 6 is getting season 2, and we're on season 3 of Tekken 7. So I'm thinking Bandai Namco might be there to show off a little more Zafina and what was his name, Leroy Smith. Was it Leroy Smith? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, Leroy Smith was the name of the character of the new character coming to Tekken 7, who looks just so fucking cool. Like he looks like a badass priest who took a few lessons from Ip Man. But we also know that season 2 of Soul Calibur is coming, and as far as I know, we don't know schedules for this. But we do know their one new guest character that's coming. So Soul Calibur is going to have 3 guest characters now. We have Geralt, we have 2B from the first season, and the second season is going to bring Haomaru from Samurai Showdown, which, sorry, a little bit wet in the nose. is super exciting because Samurai Showdown is, as far as I know, the first Samurai Showdown game that's come out in a long time. So the fact that it's already gotten popular enough where Bamco and SNK have worked together, they already worked together with Geese Howard for Tekken, and now they're going to have Haomaru, another SNK property, coming into Soul Calibur. That's going to be pretty freaking cool, in my opinion. But that's kind of the main thing from Bandai Namco. I do know they have one other game that they wanted to make. I can't remember. They have a couple of other games. I can't remember them at the moment, but we might see more of those games in the future. There was one about like a rapture and ghosts and things, but I just can't remember what it is at the time. Might put a thing down there, or one of you lovely people will remind me if I don't. Just so you know, another honorable mention that I would really like to see, because I almost name dropped them during the future segment, during your future segments, the last segment of this, is that I'm noticing that if we look, there's another developer that's missing. Where the fuck is Rocksteady? When is Rocksteady going to release their next game? Damn it! I need to know! Next, we're actually going to scroll down a little bit, I think. That's what we already talked about. See, Project we already talked about. I don't give a fuck about Electronic Arts. Nintendo! Nintendo is here because we're definitely going to be getting a reveal for the Nintendo Switch Mini, which is actually known as the Nintendo Switch Lite. It will be shown at Gamescom this year. We'll see its size. We already know that it's probably going to have the battery life of the new Nintendo Switch models that have been coming out that have incredibly increased battery lives. I've not gotten around to getting a Switch yet. That would be certainly something I would be hella interested in getting at some point, but, you know me, I'm 3 or 4 years behind the curve every fucking time. So, c'est la vie, it is what it is. And the Nintendo Switch Lite is going to be really cool to look at. As far as I know, it's not going to be compatible with TVs. It's just going to be a handheld. And I would rather just have the ability to do both. That was kind of one of my biggest selling points for the Switch, but that's just me. And finally, you might have seen a lot of names there, but there is a name that has been confirmed that will not be coming to Gamescom this year. That's Blizzard Interactive. Blizzard's not coming, probably to focus on development for their side projects, whether that be Diablo 4 or what I'm really interested in, a League of Legends themed fighting game that has kind of been confirmed. I'm going to quickly go check event hubs really quick, because Riot Games, we know for a fact, is building a fighting game. And wait, is Riot under Blizzard? I don't, hold on. Oh no, it's not owned by okay, so scratch what I said about Blizzard. I totally thought that Blizzard owned where did it go? I totally thought that Blizzard owned Riot Games.
You stupid idiot!
Whoops. All right. I'm keeping that in there so that you guys know that, hey, we all make mistakes, especially stupid ones. But I didn't see Riot Games in here, and it doesn't look like they're actually going to be on the list. But Riot Games is making a fighting game, so scratch whatever the hell I said about Blizzard. Scratch whatever the hell I said about Blizzard, and we're actually going to talk about Riot Games, who doesn't appear to be going to Gamescom. But we know a fighting game is coming, and if you know me, I'm a sucker for fighting games. Granted, we have no idea what kind of fighting game they're making. Rumor has it it's going to be a League of Legends-based fighting game. But I personally would be super excited to see what it is, and if it's 1v1, I'm already super interested. As I said before, I don't like tag fighters, but I personally would be very much excited to just, okay, get the fighting games on the roll and keep an eye on it, see what it looks like, see what the competitive scene is like, and so on. But if it is like tag or competitive, if it is like Marvel vs. Capcom, I'm probably not going to get it. But they'll increase their chances significantly if it is actually a sort of 1v1 affair like a Mortal Kombat or a Street Fighter. All right, now it's time to talk about our final thing. It's probably not going to be as big as the PS5 thing, but it's still going to be huge regardless. Excuse me. All right, this is the final story that we're going to cover today. And before we close it out, just as well, I also want to say that I will probably also be doing a sort of trying to cover Gamescom to the best of my ability. Go in, I might actually also do it live. Maybe get a couple of buddies or something. I'm still working out the details, but I'm going to try and cover Gamescom to the best of my ability. I just realized, what is going on with my nose? Is that a rash or is that a burn? I don't know. Anyway, enough talking about my vanity for a minute. Let's talk about this. Former Naughty Dog and Rockstar dev joins Sony's new San Diego studio. So Sony has a new studio that has been secretly assembling at least since early 2018, and we know that we've got a bunch of okay, by the way, the guy's name is James Martinchek, and he's coming into this new secret fold for a new secret development thing being headed up by Sony. Now that's interesting because Sony Santa Monica also expanded, and Xbox is expanding into the Santa Monica, into the California area, in order to snatch up new developers in order to make new exclusives. So the fact that Sony's doing that leads me to believe that something similar is happening, and most people to believe that because it makes sense. At the very least, it's going to be a second-party dev. It's probably actually going to be a first-party dev. All that has been said by a fellow by the name of Cobb, Quentin Cobb is his name. When the San Diego developer will announce his project, he literally just said, the future. So I'm wondering if this could be a co-announcement to the PS5. The PS5 will have as a launch title whatever this studio's game is going to be. And it will also be a PS4 game in case you don't want to get a PS4 just yet. Kind of like how Destiny was at the time, but that's just what it appears to be. We're not really sure what is going on, but the article actually makes an interesting thing. If it ever happens, Uncharted 5 could be a thing. Now, I've unfortunately, yes, I do apologize for the ad there that was on the website, and I forgot to close it like an idiot. But talking Uncharted 5, has Dad played Uncharted 4 stuff?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. All right, so my dad's a huge Uncharted fan. He's played all of the games. I've yet to. I know that seems really strange, but I probably am just going to go ham and do an Uncharted series at some point for the channel or something. And an Uncharted 5 would certainly make at least some people pretty excited, but would this be it? Because this guy's also worked for Rockstar, who's been doing GTA and Red Dead Redemption, so we don't know that. Anyway, hopefully the dog's not being too distracting. Yes, distract me. Why not?
That's the sound of his ribs.
Yep. Yeah, so Martinchek just finished work on Red Dead Redemption 2. So he left Rockstar not that long ago. So whatever these people are working on, if it is an Uncharted 5 or if it's something entirely new, we're going to have to wait and see. And one final little ranty poo. I mean, it's under the Sony envelope, so maybe it'll show up there, but one last little ranty poo before I close this out. Sucker Punch. Where the fuck is Ghost of Tsushima? You've said nothing about this game since, last year, I think. What's going on with that game? Guys, can we get some information for that, please? Even if it's just nominal, even if it's just a friendly reminder, guys. Ghost of Tsushima is still in development. We're sorry for none of the news, but we promise news soon. Even if it was just that, I would take it because those guys. That's it for my Gamescom 10 things I want to look at and are likely to be coming to the Gamescom thing. I've had a batting average of about 50-50 so far, so I'm liking these odds. What do you guys want to see at Gamescom? Do any of these companies, I'll post up one last time, do any of these companies, which is a lot, interest you? Do you have an interest in whatever the hell Ubisoft is doing? Is Crytek going to catch your attention? The cast decided he decided not to join me. But do we have a vested interest in any of those? Comment below, let me know. And again, for you Persona freaks, how excited are you for P5R? Has Persona done anything like this before? Has, I don't know, Persona 3 released a Persona 5 Super Edition, or Persona 3 Super Edition or something? Or is this kind of a first-time deal and you guys are like, what's going on? Or fill me in. Give me all of the info on Persona that you can. And maybe in 2020 I might do a Persona playthrough. We'll think about it, alright? So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have lots of thoughts about Gamescom. Don't forget to be awesome, folks, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Now, just as a friendly reminder as well, if you're wondering when the date is, it starts Tuesday, Tuesday, August 20th, and goes to the 24th. So, and because it's in Germany, I do also want to stress this too. Where in Germany actually is it? Gamescom location. It's going to be in Cologne, Germany. The Kollenmesse, Eastern entrance. But in Cologne, Germany time, it is currently, by the way, it is 2:06 p.m. or it just turned to 2:07 p.m. as I'm recording this. But in Germany, it's 10:06 p.m. So they're 8 hours ahead, which means that I might be able to get news slightly earlier for some of you guys, just because of focus on me. God damn it! Thank you. Just because of how time zones work. But bear that in mind, it's 8 hours ahead of my time. It's GMT +2. So those of us who are in North America might want to grab some coffee or set an alarm if they really want to get on top of these announcements. Because holy fuck, that's like, if supposing there's an announcement for Greedfall, we'll just use this as the example because it's on my mind lately. Supposing that Greedfall is announced at 10 a.m., has an announcement at 10 a.m., has a show at 10 a.m., that's 2 a.m. I'm gonna have to develop a coffee addiction in order to do that. Yes, that's another thing you might not have known about me and didn't care to know. I don't drink coffee. I said, don't forget to be awesome like a minute ago, so I'm gonna say it again. Don't forget to be awesome. I'll see you guys on the other side. I'm a grenade without reason. We know for a fact that Uncharted, we know of the Uncharted games if you are a Sony person. I've personally yet to play them, but my dad actually... Hey, how's it going? That is my sister. If you'd like to cover your face, feel free to. Or just be half covered by the camera, that's good too.
Oh my God.
Am I gonna cut this out? I don't know. This seems too cute. I don't know. Am I gonna cut you out of this? Do you want to be cut out of this or what?
I don't care. Look at the cat.
Yeah.
Look at him.
Look at the boy.
He's so precious.
Look at the boy. So it isn't just me? It isn't just me who thinks he smells like pot? Oh my god.
What have you been doing, Bootsy?
That's a good question. Is he beginning into the catnip? So this got completely derailed. It's going to be at the end of the video as an outtake, but this is just too fucking good. Anyway,